So today we're going to show our air conditioner running off of the 280 amp hour battery, but in a real world situation. So we did a previous video where we ran this air conditioner off a 280 amp hour battery for 48 hours straight. We were going to run it for 3 days, but we had enough data to show that we could definitely run this air conditioner for 3 days. So we only ran it for 48 hours. Now, during that time, it got to 91 degrees. And, running an AC unit for 48 hours on a 280 amp hour battery is pretty amazing on its own. But this episode, we're going to show you how to do it in a real world situation. Because, in RVs, you're going camping, you're not going to just leave the air conditioning running, because when you're boondocking, you got to conserve a certain amount of power. And we want to use air conditioning when we need it. So in this episode, we're going to show you, we're only going to use the air conditioner during, like, when you come back for lunchtime, or you come back, at 5 p.m. after you do your excursions or whatever you're doing. So, and then we're going to run it all night long. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to run it for a lunchtime period for a couple hours, and then from 5 p.m. all the way till the morning time, like 9 a.m. That way it's a real world situation, and we're going to see if this thing can run forever, infinite. As long as there's a sun out, you should be able to run this thing forever in this type of situation. And of course, if there's no sun, then you can use the generator. So let's get started. Let's get this test going. So currently it's 80 degrees outside, nice and hot, and the battery bank is completely charged up. 280 amp hours are in the battery. And we're going to do this test today, starting off at noon, and we're going to turn it off at 2 p.m. So turn on the AC as if you're coming back for lunch and you're cooling off the RV. It actually cools off pretty quick. It's only been running for 5 minutes now, and it's already pretty cool. So it does a good job. So like I said, we're coming back for lunch. You do your lunch thing, and then at 2 p.m. you turn the AC off, and you go do your whatever excursion you're going to do again. And then about 5:30, you come back. You're going to wind things down. You want to have it cool in the RV again, so 5:30 we're going to turn the air conditioner on, and we're going to leave it on till like 9 a.m. So 5:30 p.m. to 9 a.m. It's more of a real world test, to see if this thing can, not run all day, because, we're boondocking. We're not going to be just letting things run all day. So this is more of a real test. So I'm going to shut this thing off at 2 p.m. and then we're going to turn it back on at 5:30 p.m. and we're going to also get temperature tests and see how much juice we're drawing from this thing. So it's 2 p.m. now. We ran the air conditioner for 2 hours, and the battery now has 277 amp hours of power left. So it used about 3 amp hours of power for the 2 hours of running time. So good test, see how things are running for, lunchtime. And now you may go out to something else, it's vacation time, you're going to do something else. And we're going to restart the air conditioner at 5:30 p.m. So we're going to turn it off now and restart it then. So I just wanted to give you a quick recap of what kind of equipment I use to make this all work. So I have 500 watts of solar on the roof, and I have a 40 amp MPPT charge controller. It's Renogy brand. And I have a 280 amp hour Eco-Worthy battery. The Eco-Worthy battery is nice because it's a single battery, and it's really, really cheap compared to the competition out there. Now I also have a Victron IP22 charger that is 30 amps of power coming in, so I can plug my generator up to it real quick. And my generator is a I'll show it right here. I forgot what the name was, but it's a 1,000 watt generator, 1,500 watt peak. But you know what that means. It's a 1,000 watt generator. And that 1,000 watt generator means I can recharge the batteries and run the air conditioner at the same time during those cloudy days. So that's a quick recap. This all this equipment is really cheap for what it does. And that's my goal, is to not break the bank and still be able to get cool air conditioning and be able to do all the things you want to do in an RV, enjoy life. So that's the recap. And the next part is we're going to run this air conditioner when it's 5:30 so we can see how it the juice goes down, whenever it's 5:30 to 9 a.m. Okay, so it's 5:22. Actually, it's almost 5:23. But we're going to turn the air conditioner on right now, and I wanted to show you two things real quick. Now, I still got to mount this thing. That's why I got a screwdriver holding it up. But this is an A-B switch that I have my air conditioner on. And what that does is I can have it on shore when I'm at a campground, or I can have it on solar when I'm at boondocking. That way I don't have to, unplug or plug this thing over and over again. And the second thing is this. So my inverter has a remote switch that I can hook up, and I'll click it on, and I clicked on, turn the inverter on, and now my air conditioner is back to running. So now that the air conditioner is back on and running again, it's going to take a little bit to kick it on, but now we can run it from 5:30 till 9 a.m. the next morning. That way we can do a true test of this thing running, in a real world situation. So it's running now, and we'll see you at 9 a.m. Oh, and two other things. One, it is 82 degrees outside, so nice and humid in Maryland, and we're going to get a good true test of this air conditioner because, pretty warm in here. And also, my battery is at 280 amp hours again, so it's completely charged back up, and this will start draining it down, of course, from 5:30 p.m. it is right now till 9 a.m. tomorrow. So it'll be a good test run. So it's the next day. The air conditioner ran all night long with no problem, and it used 108 amp hours of battery power. So it was great. 108 amp hours isn't that bad. So maybe on a very, very humid, high heat, middle of July, August day, it might use a little more. Maybe it would use 120 or 130 amp hours, but I think it's going to charge it all back up during the day. So we'll see. We'll keep you posted on how much battery power we get back from that. Now we're going to turn it off for the day, as if we're going to go somewhere, and then we're going to turn it back on for lunchtime for 2 hours again to mimic a typical day. So we'll keep you posted on this. And by the way, the temperature today is supposed to get up to 81 degrees. So it's not going to be super hot, but it's going to be hot enough. And tomorrow it's going to be 87 degrees. So that'll be a really good day for this test too. So my plan is to run it for 3 days to see if we can keep the air conditioner running, during this type of cycle and never run a generator. Now, in a case where you did have to run a generator, then I have a situation where you can use a 1,000-watt inverter generator to recharge everything, and it only take a few hours to do it. So we'll talk about that later, but there is an option, say you get a bunch of cloudy days. So there are options to do it where you're not running a generator, in the middle of the night. You only have to run it a couple hours, during the day, one day. So we'll show that later on, and the next part is when we restarted at noon. Okay, so it's noon, and we're going to turn the air conditioner on as if we're coming back from whatever we're doing. So let's turn it on right now. All right, it's going to kick on. There we go. So we're going to leave it on again for 2 hours, and we're going to see, just normal daily use. I'm going to do this for 3 days to get a true sense of how long that battery is going to last. Right now, the battery has 211 amp hours in it, so it did recharge quite a bit. And, we're going to run this, so it should kind of wash a little bit during the next couple of hours. And then you'll turn it off till 5:30 again. We're going to see if this cycle of pattern, if we can maintain this, like permanently. So I think it's going to actually maintain permanently. I think we're going to get enough charge, and we're going to be good, at least for sunny days. It was a little cloudy today, so not the greatest, but again, these are real world tests. So we're just trying to give you, true facts of how it would work in the real world. Okay, so we're still on day 2. This is after lunch, and we're going to turn the air conditioner off. So day 2, and we are at 222 amp hours in the battery. It's nice and warm today. It's about 83, so it's not super warm, but it's warm. And like I said, we got 222 amp hours left on the battery from this. So we're going to start it up at 5:30 p.m. and see how our day 2 goes. So it's day 2 at 5:30 p.m. where you'd be coming back to the campground to run your air conditioner. Today's going to be a really good test because it's like 98 degrees in this camper, so it's nice and warm. So let's turn it on. Alright, so it's on, and again, we're going to leave it on from 5:30 to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And right now we have 275 amp hours in the battery, so we have a decent amount of power in the battery. We're almost full again, but it's pretty hot in here. I think it's going to drain it down quite a bit tonight, but we'll see. So it's the morning of day 3, and we are down to 155 amp hours from last night. So we are a little more than the night before, on power usage. It was a little warmer last night, a lot more humidity, so pretty warm. It's doing pretty good so far. I think that, maintenance-wise, keeping this thing going every single day like this, I think the pattern is going to show that you can keep it consistently going. You're going to lose a little bit, and like I said, I'm not running an extra solar panel right now. And let me show you my extra one. So this is the extra one I use whenever I need it. And, if I need it, I just hook it up. It's 120 watts. It hooks directly up to that, that little port that RVs have that nobody ever uses. It'll hook straight up to it with that. This is a MPPT charge controller. And I like this one. It's Batteria if you want to know what the brand is. But I really like it because it's 10 amps. I don't have to do any rewiring of anything. It just plugs right in. And I can plug my solar right into it. And it just works. It's simple. That's why I liked it. And it's waterproof. So I just like it for that. Simple and waterproof. No wiring or doing any work for making this thing work on it. So this test that we're doing is just the air conditioner. There's no extra gadgets being used, charging your laptop, charging your tablets, running a coffee maker. Most of those things are little tiny bursts and little tiny things, so you'll probably use an extra 15 amp hours of juice, maybe 20 at the most of amp hours of juice every day for those types of devices. Probably be the maximum amount of use of power you're going to get extra on this. So in those cases, maybe you would need this. And now, if you're just going to go camping for, 4 days, the amount of loss that you're getting from the solar and for your battery usage, you can go 4 days easy and still charge up your tablets and everything. It's just, if you're going to be doing this permanently, you're going to need an extra source of power to charge your tablets and everything. So, now, if you get a cloudy day, then, you could probably do this with one cloudy day and still be able to cool the air conditioning at nighttime. So get 2 nights out of it. But if you get 2 cloudy days, you're going to need another source of power. And this is another cool thing. And I showed this on a prior video. This generator right here. See how light it is? Look at that. Super light. It's 1,000 watts of continuous. It says 1,500 watts inverter generator, but it's 1,000 watts of continuous. The reason why this is really cool, I can run my charger that's going to charge the batteries. I got a Victron IP22 charge controller, or charger, sorry. Anyway, I got a charger to charge that up, and I can run the air conditioner at the same time off of a generator. So 1,000 watt generator. It has 1 gallon of gas, 5-6 hours of runtime on 1 gallon of gas, and I can cool the RV while I'm charging. So it's kind of like pretty cool win-win for that, where in the past you'd have to have a 3,000 watt generator and really crank it up to get these old air conditioners working. This style, everything's a low wattage. I don't need a massive generator, and because it's an inverter generator and it's small, it's super quiet. I don't hear it from the inside of the RV at all. There's zero noise in here from it. And really, if you're far enough away, like your neighbor on the boondocking area, they're not going to hear it because this thing is super quiet. It's the engine that is like that big around. It's small. So it's a win-win for, just keeping things smaller. And that's why I like to keep everything small. I think, like I said, my inverter for running these things is 1200 watts. And I bought that specifically because I wanted to keep me in check. So a 1200 watt power inverter, make sure that I don't buy a 1500 watt device, because everything is 1500 watts in the house, and it's going to make you, start buying these things, and it's going to drain your battery down. Now, let me show you this real quick. This is a good example. Here's two examples. Two good examples. This coffee maker, Keurig, it only runs for a couple minutes because you only need to turn it on and make a cup of coffee, and it automatically turns off. 800 watts. It takes like, maybe 2 minutes of power drain. So drain on your battery is nothing to make a cup of coffee, compared to a traditional coffee maker that just sits there and drains your battery. So get something that's low wattage and it's not going to drain your battery. Another thing right here, this pot, it is 600 watts. So 600 watts, it's just a pot to make boiling water. It does eggs too. You can boil some eggs. And what I love about this is, I got one kid that loves ramen soup. And, whatever soups you want to do, it actually works. I mean, it works just as fast as a stove boiling water. And like I said, it's 600 watts, low wattage. So that's what I mean about keeping everything in a low wattage form. Then when you're running this, 5 minutes, you're not draining your battery down. You're not, if you look at one of those cooktops that are heated, electric heat, those things are like 2000 or 1500 watts, and it's just draining that battery down. So 600 watts, that's almost 1/3 of the power of one of those. And like I said, 1/3 the power means you're not going to be killing that battery. So that's what I mean. Keep everything low wattage, and you can do all this stuff on not as much of a cost. And everything goes higher. So the minute you say, I need a higher appliance, everything goes up. It's not just, that you're buying a $15 appliance. You buy that 1500 watt appliance. Now you need a 2000 watt inverter. Now you need, maybe 100 amps of charging power to recharge those batteries from a generator. Now you need, a 2000 watt generator. Now you need, maybe 600 amp hours of batteries. You got to kick everything up. And also solar on the roof. Now you need 1000 watts of solar on the roof. So it just makes everything, one $15 item that's 1500 watts now escalated your entire cost of your entire RV. You just jumped it up $3,000 or $4,000 in cost, maybe even higher. So that's why I say keep things in check. You're camping out there, you're enjoying the world, and just keep yourself in a little bit of check. And that's why I say the 1200 watt charge or power inverter for running your devices is the perfect size. And like I said, that inverter is running this air conditioner. The air conditioner, after it's already cooled off the RV, it runs 170 watts or 200 watts. So it's low wattage. And that means I still have almost 1000 watts of inverter power to do everything else. So I can make a cup of coffee. I can make, boil some ramen noodle. The only thing I can't do is I can't microwave anything because I took the microwave out and put this in the microwave hole. So that's the only thing I can't do. But I went camping enough and I found that I really didn't need the microwave. There was microwave popcorn. That was the only thing I needed it for, and I can just use those Jiffy Pops for that. But everything else, I didn't have to have a microwave. So that's the reason why I got rid of it and did this. Plus, it's 1,000 times quieter than that old rooftop air conditioner. It's 200 watts of draw, maybe even 170 watts sometimes. So no power. And I know I'm rambling on about this. I just want people to get the information to know that they don't need to spend, tens of thousands of dollars, for thousands and thousands of dollars to do this type of things. And you can do this, you know, cheap. Like this, I think it runs like 280 bucks. So 280 bucks, you do a couple little things up here. It's another maybe 60, 70 bucks of material. The battery, the Eco-Worthy 280 amp hour battery, new they're running like 500 bucks, maybe even a little lower with a coupon. So that's really cheap for 280 amp hours. And Eco-Worthy is a big brand, so you know it's a win-win there. And the Victron charger, the IP22, that thing, I want to say it's like 100, 150 bucks, something around there. It's a little more expensive, but it does the job really well. And again, these things, I want to say it's like $150 or something like that. I'll show you the real price, you know, what it is right now. You know, it's like 1/4 the price of a big giant generator. It's quieter. My point is, like, just keep everything low, and you don't have to sink, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars into costs. Same thing. I got 500 watts of Eco-Worthy solar panels on the roof, and they, you know, they're not breaking the bank buying it. But again, I didn't have to break the bank. So I know I'm rambling on and on still, but next part of this video will be, we're going to turn this thing on for lunchtime, and we're going to see our power draw down on it. And then we will do one more time of running this thing overnight, and we'll be done. We'll be able to give you a true test of 3 days of how much power this thing is going to be drawing down. All right, so it's noon. We're going to run it for 2 hours for noontime. And like I said, this is just to see how many amp hours we're going to use, create, and see if this is maintainable for a long period of time. And after these 3 days are up, we're going to average how much power loss we had during that time. And that kind of gives us a good idea of how many days you could make it from a 280 amp hour battery and running air conditioner when you need it. So it's 2 p.m., lunch hour is over, and we shut the air conditioner off as if we're going to go to another excursion or something else. And at 5:30, we'll see how much power we have in our battery. Right now we have 195 amp hours in the battery, so it seems to be going pretty good. We have great sun out today, so this test will really show, you know, can this thing run non-stop, you know, continuously, except for cloudy days, of course. And on a cloudy day, you would just hook your generator up to it. But we'll let you know how many amp hours we have at 5:30, and we'll know for sure if this thing can actually keep the cycle going on and on for, you know, however long, endless cycles. So it's 5:30, the final day, and I want to tell you how many amp hours I've used and what kind of production I've got in my battery. So right now I have 247 amp hours in the battery. That means I have used 33 amp hours. So 33 amp hours divided by 3 is roughly 11 hours of amp hours every day I've used doing this experiment. So that is not running, you know, charging for tablets or, you know, watching a television, things like that. This is just using an air conditioner. So 11 amp hours per day is what I'm using. And a 280 amp hour battery. By the way, this is I had great sun, so it was a great day for doing this experiment. I would say if you're using 11 amp hours a day and you have a 280 amp hour battery and you don't want to let it run completely down, you know, let's say you let it run down to 80 amp hours or something, then you're going to have 200 amp hours of time to, you know, go down in this grade. That means that roughly you could go probably 18 or 17 days of not being on a generator. And if you go 18 days, I would use an external extra solar panel. And let me show you the one I have. So this is the solar panel I have and I use. It's 120 watts. So if you're going to be watching television and, you know, doing things like that, you know, you're going to be using probably an extra 15 amp hours, maybe even 20 amp hours of extra juice per day. And to get, without having to use a generator, you would need something like this if you're going to run 18 days. Now, if you're not running 18 days, then you don't need this. You know, you're running 4 days or 5 days, then you're fine with what you're doing here. You don't need a generator. As long as you got good sunny days, you're all good. It's just if you're running 18 days, you know, or longer, you probably need a little extra power source to come in to generate that extra, you know, juice for your tablets and your television, things like that. Now, if you have cloudy days, then... Oh, and by the way, I wanted to say this real quick. This, you know, a lot of people try to sell you the, you know, the expensive junk, and I want to tell you about this because for the price, it's probably the best thing I've seen out there. So really check out this product. It's cheap, it's 120 watts, and it's tough. It's really tough. I just really like the quality of it, and like I said, it was cheap. It's good product. That's why I like to show you it. Good and cheap. This is another thing. It's good and cheap. This is the Power Smart. It says 1500 watt inverter generator. Now, inverter generator is the key. So if you are using this to recharge your batteries and you have a non-inverter generator, that means that generator is going to be screaming out there to recharge your batteries. Even if you only need 400 watts of power to recharge your batteries, it's just going to be going 100 mile an hour, and you know, you're going to be wasting tons of gasoline for that to do that. This inverter one runs low RPMs, and when you are only using it to, you know, produce 400 watts of charging power for your battery charger, then it'll run at those low RPMs. It won't have to kick high. And because it's running low RPM, it's two things. It's quiet, and another, it's going to save you on gas. So it uses 1 gallon of gasoline, and that 1 gallon of gasoline will run with a load under it probably about 5 hours. So 5 hours under load, you can pretty much charge up your battery bank with 1 gallon of gasoline with it. So that's why I like it. It's cheap, and another cool thing is because it's 1,000 watts of continuous power outage, and my Victron IP22 charger that puts 30 amps of power back in the batteries, that thing only takes 380 watts of power to run it, which means I can run my air conditioner, because on normal use it's running 250 watts at the max, and I can run my air conditioner and recharge my batteries same time. So it's a win-win, and like I said, it's quiet. So that's your option, you know, and there's other options. You can get whatever you want, really, but I just wanted to let you know a cheap option. I wanted to say this thing's like 150 bucks when it's on sale, so they're really cheap for a generator. I like it. But so that's it. That's proof of concept. Everything worked. This is if you're wanting to run an air conditioner, you know, when you're going to be available. So when you are, you know, eating lunch, and during the nighttime, and during the lunchtime, dinner time. So that's what this test was, and it proved that you can run air conditioning, and it's running right now. So it's cool in here right now. I just love it. And you can do this with a 280 amp hour battery, you know, only 500 watts of solar on the roof, a 40 amp MPPT charge controller, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you don't need a lot of equipment to do this type of thing, and you can have air conditioning. That's the name of this game. Alright, well, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe, because you all make it happen.